Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for another round of the Formula Racing Group's Wednesday night action. Once again, back in the F3A 2024 car. Tonight, we're moving over to Germany to Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. Did actually get a German lesson this week, by the way. Dave Roberts, who's sitting alongside me. It's Oschersleben, not Oschersleben, which we were saying apparently last time out. So there you go.
Oh, don't be bitter.
Sorry? I missed that.
Don't be bitter.
Oh, okay. You're having fun with me. Anyway,
yeah,
look,
I am. I love this little place. It's a very, very tight, very twisty. There's nowhere to relax. What a great little circuit it is. And it's sort of home to a lot of Formula 4, Formula 3, or has been in recent years in Germany. So it's a real home of Formula racing in Germany. Great little spot. And that's not wrong. It's missing an E. Oschersleben.
Good to see that we're all picking things apart before we've even started here tonight. This is this Motorsport Arena Oschersleben Grand Prix layout. That's right. There's a couple of different layouts here. And the run into turn number one, it's really tight and twisty from one to number two, particularly on cold tyres. Could see the rear end of those cars starting to come around. Haas Rotor, it's a hairpin down there. Another hairpin at turn 7. The triple lefts as well through 4, 5, and 6. Chicane at McDonald's, and then down the back straight to the shell curve chicane. All the chicanes here, completely and utterly different styles of chicane, which is the best part about it. About the two corners that are closest together are turn 3 and turn 7, and even them have got completely different elements to it. It is a lovely little place. I do love it, but there are elements of the TCR, or sorry, was it the British Touring Car Association, TCR, that don't necessarily like this place. They referred to it in many rude words back once upon a time.
I refer to them in rude words anyway. They've got roofs. They got roofs and mud guards. Well, yeah, that's not a racing car.
Good to see Dave Roberts showing his colours yet again. Yeah, it's a fun little track. It's actually quite good at Toyota 86. They're quite fun around here too. These cars was actually racing here in a Formula Ford actually on iRacing earlier in the week in the wet, and that was a whole boatload of fun. Ooh. Cold tyres will be an important element of things here tonight. 3.6 kilometers, 14 turns, 30 minutes the race duration. And what have you thrown at the drivers here tonight, Dave, in terms of the setup?
The setup, it's got to be a bit pointy, so it's certainly got a good front end on it. Little loose around the rear, but you need you really need the thing to rotate. So it's going to be a very neat. We didn't go too hard on it, kept it pretty stable. The big things that were happening in pre-qualifying and in practice were a lot of people going off at the sort of turn 1 complex. The triple left-hander is so much fun.
It is, yeah.
The little hairpin, the little chicane onto the back straight, a lot of people running wide. But the shell curve, the right-left under the bridge at the end of the back straight, that was where everybody was going off in the second portion of that. Lots and lots of trouble. So keep your eyes open there. Could be some action.
Well, this is how it looks in terms of the point scoring as it currently stands, and currently Harry Lawrence has been on an absolute charge. The problem for Harry, though, is that he has not necessarily been the quickest driver in any of those sessions. He's been the best placed and the least impacted by varied strategies. Probably the best drivers to keep half an eye on are the two Webbs, the Declan Webb and Curtis Webb, sitting in 3rd and 5th place, respectively, in terms of the championship points. A tie for 2nd place on the standings at the moment. Chris Island's had a reasonable run at things as it currently stands as well. But Wade Sheedy, after scoring a boatload of points in that early round, is now back in 9th in championship. Aaron Cooper's doing well to hang on to all those points he scored way back at round number 1. So things are working out for a number of drivers, and I can tell you that our warm-up session is in its final few moments. We're going to be going racing here in just a few seconds. Qualifying results in the book, and it is once again the two Webbs on the front row. Curtis from Declan this time out. Row number 2 is going to be taken up by Matt Morris, who joins the series for his debut, off alongside Robbie Griffiths, who will be there alongside of him. Damien Cairns and Leith Hardy are going to be row number 3 before we get back to Scott Lefebvre and Callum Newton on row number 4. Jason Depp and Callan Arthur are going to be row number 5, and that rounds out our top 10. 11th and 12th, well, there was only 12 qualifying laps set. Jared Williams and Jamie Nankervis are going to make up that row. James Shostanoff is the first of the drivers not to set a lap, and as you can see, safety car sitting in 14th spot. Why is that? We've got so many drivers without a lap. Josh Fitt, Stephen Bull are the next ones on the grid. From there, it's going to be Harry Lawrence and Chris Ireland. These guys at the pointy end of the championship coming from the back. Paul Rogers and Drew Collins are going to be on the next row of the grid before we'll get back to Chris Bands and Mickey Rubok, another new entry to the series. Next row on the grid is going to be Luke Fitt from David Baz. Baz has been beaten about the head a whole bunch as we've raced thus far this season, from Jack Humphreys and Hayden Millington in 25th and 26th. 27th is going to be Sean Reed alongside of Max Fry, and then off the tail row of the grid is going to be Stephen Casitas off alongside of Jordan Mazzaroli, and Mazzaroli did not have a good time last time out. And they're on the grid. Lights are starting to come on. It is going to be 30 minutes for the silver drivers as they take to Motorsport Arena. Oschersleben and a run down to turn number 1. Great start from Callum Newton in the middle of the pack. In the background, you'll see him cut through. They're already 3 wide in the middle of this pack, and it's going to be hairy because where do you go? Where do you get out? It's tight down at turn number 1. Becomes a right-hander. They are multi-wide, multiple layers through, and it is very, very narrow at turn number 2 as you flick back to the right. Finally, they'll start to settle it all on down, and it's going to be the Webbs who got off, and it was Curtis from Declan. Matt Morris sits in 3rd, and Robbie Griffiths has lost 1 spot to Callum Newton, but Newton's had a banger start. 8th on the grid, he's all the way up to 4th.
Well, that was a bit of brotherly love there off the front row. I'm looking at Chris Barnes actually upside down in the
oh no
in the kitty litter, so I think that's going to be a safety car by the looks of that. But yeah, so just so everybody knows, Declan and Curtis, it turns out they are brothers. So a bit of brotherly love there in turn 1, gave each other a bit of room. Matt Morris slipped in there as well. But I don't know what's really happened here to down in turn 2, but it was certainly a bit of action happening there. And here we see they're still running under green conditions at the moment, so looks like we've still got a race on our hands, Scott.
Yeah, as it currently stands, a car has been allowed to tow back to the pit lane, and there's not going to be any further touch, but Luke Fitt's around, and there's another car impacted. It's Jared Williams. So as they try and get the rear end of this car and those rear tyres warmed up, like you said, it's got to be a pointy setup, and it does have to be a pointy setup around here. You require some downforce, but you also require some rotation. Long corners is going to be the element of the night. Means you need to have a rear end that is capable of getting out a little bit, because if you can't do that, car will not rotate whatsoever. Replay on the bottom side of this one will be the incident involving Luke Fitt and Jared Williams. No, this is the incident earlier in the lap.
Oh, that was just unfortunate racing incident. Didn't really see the guy on the inside. Little touch right at the wrong time, and upside down the kitty litter. Whoa! Exit stage left.
Basically, did he get a call to go barreling on out there? It's Jason Depp falling through the field, one of the new entries, I believe, to the series as well.
No, Jason's run a few of the series so far, a few rounds. But John, I keep calling him Johnny, but we won't go there.
Chris Island's had a reasonably good start, by the way, after all things considered, has moved himself from 18th on the grid all the way up to 11th as he currently stands, so plus 7 spots for him. One of the drivers who failed to set a lap in qualifying. There's a huge battle pack around the back end of this top 10 as well. 6th place on backwards are all sort of bottled up. And as it currently stands, it is Jason Depp, who was in 6th place at the start of the lap. Now it's going to be Scott Lefebvre, who's really the cork in the bottle as they all try and chase him. Clear air on the nose is one thing, or a little bit of wiggling around in the background as they come out through that. And another car out and around.
That is Josh Pitt. Josh Pitt out in the bush, I think.
And one of the comments from drivers here in this car is, it is difficult to get a pass done as the crisscross from Stephen Bull gets out, brake down the inside, turns it back down and gets the job back done, hangs on to that 12th spot.
Yeah, it's a pretty hectic place around here. You can see that triple left. That triple left is so much fun to drive. But it's really, really tricky around here when it's wet. So we're lucky we haven't got any of that tonight because the puddles hang in. It's really narrow. You get a little movement, next thing you're just miles off the road. So these guys will be thanking everybody that, or thanking the heavens that they've stayed clear tonight. I'm not so sure it's going to be the same for gold. That was a neat little move down. Oh, spearing off of the right. And that's straight into the fence. That's Max Fry in the fence there. But just lost the rear end on that on the first right-hander into the switchback.
Yeah, and Lefebvre continues to be the guy that's harassed and harangued. Declan Webb's going to come out and set fastest up of the race. Chris Island's grabbed 2 more spots, now sits inside the top 10. James Chastanoff will be his next victim as they're all trying to look for an opportunity. Chastity looks faster than the car just ahead of him, which is Leith Hardy. And Josh Fitt, I think that was making his way down to the pit lane. So that is Leith we are keeping an eye on at the moment. So just ahead of him, Scott Lefebvre, Leith, James Chastanoff in behind him, and then Chris Island at the back end of this train. I think there's actually another driver. It's Damien Kansas starting to come back. Damien Kansas having a reasonable start to this race, up in the 5th spot.
Great start for Damien. This is the best we've seen him go in this new F3 car. He's obviously starting to come to grips with just how much grip the car has, because it does have a lot of grip. And Damien's an old V8 racer who stepped into open wheelers and has done a fabulous job. And it's been an absolute joy to watch him come to grips with the car. But he's obviously really getting the hang of this tonight.
Mickey Rubach.
Up in 5th place, what a great thing. Mickey Rubach, another returner. Mickey's run a couple of F3A seasons with us, and he's an absolute delight and joy. Wears his heart on the sleeve and has an occasional case of red mist, and don't we love that?
With his occasional case to picking up some kitty litter at the exit to the second last corner of the lap. Mazzaroli is the car that's just got through on him, and now he's going to be set up by Harry Lawrence, who tries to get to his inside. Lawrence gets down the inside, and he just has to yield because he was far enough up there. You don't want to be going too wide through turn 1. And,
there just isn't room in that little sort of unsettling left-right as you run the brakes, and it's really, really a difficult place to pull the car up because you're trying to just ease it left, then ease it right, but you're hard on the brakes and it's so easy to lose the rear end, and that's what was happening in early practice there. A lot of people going off in that turn 1.
Yeah, well, now the tyres have come up to temperature and everything starts to stabilise a little bit. Fuel starts to burn down. We are already about 6 minutes into this race as well, as they try and settle in, and that is the weather update for tonight's race.
It's looking nice.
For the F3A Silver. I tell you what, Max Fry's had another issue, and he's off on the back straight, trying to get out of the way of everyone as these cars still go toe-to-toe as they come through the Shell Curve chicane, and now down to the final corner, down to the inside goes Chris Island.
I see Stephen Bull off the road there, and there he is, Stephen Bull off the road backwards in his Jaguar liveried F3 car. Yeah. This weather looks very nice tonight, Scott.
Well, I tell you what, Chris Island got brave down into turn number 1, was far enough up alongside, and Chastity just decided he was not going to fight that one too hard. Chris Island grabs another spot, now plus 10. Now sets his eyes on Leith Hardy's. Leith Hardy's starting to close in on Lefebvre as well. And Chastity might be just breaking out some popcorn as he watches everything going on at the moment. This is the incident earlier in the lap.
Little touch, and round it went. So it wasn't actually Stephen Bull's fault. He's just copped a little touch there in the back. Not intentional, but it does happen. But I'm looking at the sky there, the little bit of black and grey cloud around, but plenty of blue. So I think we're going to be good with the weather tonight.
And now Leith Hardy's going to be having a go. Who's just up ahead of these guys as we currently look. And Rogers was looking for an overlap. Chris Island's the next car in that next chain. Now he's going to present an opportunity to Chastanoff, who's going to try and go the long way round, who's just in the background of this one. Lefever leads them into the final corner. Island got deep in underneath the brakes, rotated the car really nicely, but now he's not on the back end of these guys. Hardy is close. Hardy's coming. Where does Lefever park this car? Will there be bravery on the run down to turn number 1? He's not quite fully up alongside. They will enter turn 1 side by side. Lefever parks it on the inside. Hardy tries to go the long way around, and Chris Island says there's an opportunity in all this. Lefever had to lift halfway around turn number 1. That's going to give Leith Hardy an opportunity down at turn 3. Gets to the inside, pinch of the brakes from Lefever. Hardy's still there and still alongside. They're going to go to triple left side by side. It's Hardy and Island.
No.
Outside
That's
of
a
triple
brave move around the outside. Oh,
becomes the inside down at turn 7, and now Chastanoff senses an opportunity. McDonald's chicane is very tight. Chastanoff yields, gets the yield from Leith Hardy. Finally, that one all gets it resolved, and Leith Hardy went for a move. In the response, he's lost 2 spots.
I have never seen 2 cars go all the way through the triple left-hander side by side. That was a beautiful piece of respectful driving and very ballsy.
Bravery is being the theme of the night for Chris Island thus far, and it's now starting to work in his favour. Bad run off the final corner goes Lefever, and that means he's going to be vulnerable when they get down to turn number 1. Last time he was put to the outside of turn 1, became the inside of turn 2. The long way round for Island, sends it sailing in, parks it on the apex, job done. Moves his way up to 6th, and he's grabbed 2 spots in a lap.
Beautiful bit of driving, and really nice by Scott Lefever. They're understanding they lost the corner, and he gave away the battle to maybe win the war.
I think that's the key for tonight is, make it 1 spot, not make it 5 spots. And that'll be the key. Mazzaroli's still trying to cut his way through the field as he starts to close in on Callan Arthur, and Jack Humphreys just ahead of him. Stephen Bull gets to the lane. That's probably going to be a touch too early. 20 minutes left on the clock. As we are just about on 10 minutes into this race.
So I'm looking now, Curtis Webb's, he's pulled at 2.5 seconds over his brother Declan, and they've got about another 1.5 seconds back to Matt Morris. So the front 3 looking pretty safe. Another 1.2 seconds gap back to Callum Newton, and then there's a big gap back to Damien Cairn. So the front 4 are looking very, very in control of the race at this point in time.
And Matt Morris just said his fastest lap of the race, by the way, in 3rd spot. Wasn't the fastest lap of the session thus far. That belongs to Curtis, but it was fractionally faster than Declan Webb up ahead of him. So there's an opportunity for closing. That battle pack that we were talking about just continues to remain bottlenecked up. And Chris Island got ahead of it, starting to try and clear out, has now broke the toe back to Scott Lefever, which means Chastanoff now will get an opportunity when the straights allow for it. Now he's going to try and close up, get as close as he can, sit in that dirty air, and just make sure that he is there when a straight presents itself. That back straight into the shell curve, it's just long enough to get alongside here, Dave.
Yeah, and you can see the little puffs of smoke, but they're just getting the unweighted wheel on the inside and locking it up occasionally. This is really nasty. It's easy to get a slow down through there by taking a bit too much out of that left. What? That's not what you really want to be doing around a blind corner, but he's okay. He's done a good job watching his relative and knowing whether anybody's coming just by the clock, not by looking at down the road. Leith Hardy there. Leith's hard on the chase for the 2 in front, so he's out after Chastanoff and Lefever, and
oh, there we go. Lefever,
really wide,
slapper into the fence.
In the fence,
and that's a front wing right at the pit lane exit. So he has got to do an entire lap to make his way back down to the pit lane for Scott Lefever. Yeah, that might be that front right.
Front right's broken. That's a toe to the pits. Derby calling for a tow.
That was pressure.
So what he does there is he makes a call to race control and says requesting a tow. Race control consider where he is and whether it's dangerous, what we would consider dangerous and on the road. If it was, that would be called a safety car. But because it's off and it's on the grass, he's been allowed to tow. So he'll now get a tow delay till he gets to pit lane. Then he'll get the car fixed. And in silver, we do get a fast repair. In gold, they don't. In pro, they don't. There's no fast repair. So you damage the car, you got to sit there and wait for it to be fixed. Whereas in silver, they do get a fast repair, and he'll get that fast repair and hopefully be back out on the road. And if there's a yellow, he'll get maybe a lucky dog and he can get back on the lead lap.
And as we speak about that, Curtis Webb goes and banks out the fastest lap of the race thus far. Now, the problem is Damien Can sits in 5th spot, in a 15.4. Cars ahead of him 14.8. And the car behind him was Chris Ireland, just took 9/10 of a second out of him on that lap. So Ireland will be arriving on the scene at some point in time. Somebody's already come to the pit lane. That is Jason Depp, who's going to get into the lane, and this pit lane exit too, incredibly tricky. Oh, Lee Hardy was having a great night, not no more.
That's what I saw on my second monitor, and the camera angle, he ran straight over me.
This will tell the story. Wide at turn 2.
Yep.
That's an issue of some description.
Yeah. The pit exit here too, Scott. The pit exit is really dangerous because it's got a
sorry.
You
My
do what
apologies.
I do.
I just about saw a Christopher Island-sized hole in Damien Cairns' rear wing, was what I was looking at.
I think that was on my second monitor too. On the pit exit, there's a sweeping left, and there is the sharpest of sharp right-hand corners, and it's really difficult. It's very easy in with a bit of blood rush trying to get out of the pits as fast as you can. It's very easy to make a big mistake and go off in pit lane.
Something's happened to Robbie Griffiths as well, which has just been passed on to the stewards to have a look at. Might be a tow, actually, for Robbie Griffiths as the car stopped just outside the pit lane entry. That might be him. Indeed, it is.
Ooh, that's not looking pretty.
Yeah,
that's a safety car.
Be a safety car.
That is a safety car. We've just heard a safety car's been called. That's what was regularly called a canoe.
He might have to get out and paddle with how well that one looks.
Oh, and here comes Lachlan for his see if he can set some fast laps in the beautiful Mercedes safety car for us.
It's got a bigger engine, but it's also a lot heavier, and with not quite the same level of downforce to weight. Just snapped on him.
That's a big one. The big one. They've just updated the damage model in the car overnight too, so that it's a little bit stronger in the front. So at least the front wing's still on.
Yes, Dave. When they look at the damage repair bill, I guarantee they'll be looking at that front wing and going, "Yeah, I'm glad that's still bolted on."
They're going to say, "I'm glad I'm just sim racing."
Well, for Robbie Griffiths, that was a huge impact as well. So glad he's sim racing. That would be another reason that he's glad he's sim racing instead of real world racing. Everyone's going to dive into the lane under the safety car period. Field will be frozen upon their exit of pit lane, which means that any boons gained out on track will be neutralized. What that does mean is Curtis Webb is going to have his lead eliminated. Declan will be now right on his gearbox. Callum Newton's managed to grab a spot in the pit lane and now sits third. Matt Morris is now fourth, and with his weaving, I get the feeling Morris might have just taken fresh tyres.
And I think Newton just jumped him in the pit lane. The Callum Newton's just jumped Matt Morris in pit lane. Yeah, it's something people don't realise here in Simland and in the virtual racing world, how lucky we are that we can just hit a reset button and go back racing. I've got a mate of mine who is racing in British GT and had a little accident the other day, just bumped it into the fence, and it's a £30,000 repair bill for his GT3 car, and mate, it wasn't that big a hit. So we're very, very lucky. We just get to press Control R and start the race with a brand new, fresh car again. It's one of the joys of sim racing.
If you have a good weekend, you're still going through multiple $1,000s worth of tyres.
And plus tyres, and then add to the tyres, you got the engine bill, because I'll pull the engine out and refresh it and put another one in, and you got tyres and you got wheels and you got multiple sets of tyres and all the multiple wheels that you have to have the tyres fitted to, and then you do a little bit of damage. You might break a bit of carbon underneath, and it might be the rear diffuser or whatever, and that rear diffuser is £15,000. It is phenomenally expensive, and it's one of the joys of sim racing is that you don't want to bend the car, but at least if you do, you don't have to pay for it.
So for those of you watching along at home and want the conversion rate, £15,000 is 29,000 Australian dollars. So close to double it. Not quite double it.
I think his bill was actually £35,000. I got the text the other day, so there you go. What's that in Australian dollars? About $65,000.
67,900.
Yep. There you go.
So, yep.
And that,
I mean, I would never be able to afford GT3. That just never happened. I'd sit in the car for 5 minutes and probably have a bill too much for me.
They have insurance on the car, but the excess on the insurance is £40,000, I think. So, I'll tell you because it's in a text. I'm just going to pull out my phone and go check now. But I think tell you for sure. Here we go. Excess is £40,000. There you are.
Okay.
So it's in my text. The excess was £40,000. So that's $77,000. So really, the insurance just covers a total write-off against the fence where the car's written off, and you got a $500,000 bill. It'll cover it, and you pay £40,000. But it doesn't really help you if you tear a corner off.
Yeah, still better. I mean, I suppose if you ripped out the entirety of the front end, not the entire car, that would still be acceptable as well. Probably still get something out of the insurance.
The bill for the accident was £25,000, but the excess is £40,000. So, you know, mate, you're just paying for the 25 grand, aren't you? Well,
let alone
48,000.
An F3 car where you look at the end fence and the front wing funny and it falls off. So.
Yes, and they are a lot easier to bend an F3 car or tear a wheel off. But then again, it's also a lot easier to put a corner back on an F3 car. It's a couple of wishbones in a corner, and you can rip the corner off and probably put it back on for
It's an interesting debate.
Certainly
actually.
under $10,000 Australian.
Have you seen the hyper racer cars that are getting around in Australia at the moment?
Yep, have done.
Really interesting. Part of their business model about that series as well is that, yes, the cars are a little bit expensive to buy, but replacement parts, everything's invertible. So the left-hand end of your front wing, basically everything from either side of the nose cone is completely reversible. So it means if you buy...
I think the left-hand front corner will fit the right-hand front corner, the right-hand rear, and the left-hand rear. So, but the old Quest Formula Ford was exactly the same. It had identical corners. Every corner of the car was identical, so you could carry one corner as a complete replacement and fit it to whatever corner of the car you wanted. But I still say Formula Ford is by far the cheapest and most effective formula out there because, you know, it is pretty easy to replace a corner. If you tear a corner off, you're talking about a couple of $1,000s. It's not a lot of money. Engines, it is cheaper to buy a top flight, absolute ripper Formula Ford engine is about $5 grand cheaper than one for a Hyundai Excel. So there you go.
And it's only getting more and more expensive. We are going to go green flag racing as we get back off down the main straight. It's going to be Curtis Webb who gets away yet again with that race lead. Declan's going to try and go with him. Newton's got the jump on Morris, and we think Matt Morris might have fresher tyres underneath him, but they'll be cold for this lap, and the car will crawl around all over the place as it currently stands. One of the key factors is Chris Island now not quite attached to his rear bumper. So we'll keep an eye on that one. I get the feeling Matt Morris would have been the only one. Damien Cairns might have taken tyres as well. He's down in 8th place as it currently stands. Lost a lot of spots in the pit lane. So, yeah, that'd be one driver who took tyres. Chostanoff is now all over the rear bumper of Chris Island. Whoa! That's Damien Cairns. And that was cold tyres.
And that was some beautiful driving by the two boys behind him.
Matt Ciroli, Jack Humphreys and Callan Arthur were the guys that were in behind him right there. And we're going to look at them right now because I tell you what, Matt Ciroli's defending. How about Callan Arthur? Here comes Leith Hardy, who had that spin earlier in the race. Gets back down to his inside as they enter the shell curves. Looks for an overtake. Now Mick Rubach in behind has made a little bit of a mistake. Fitt's going to try and crawl all over him as well. So it's not decided in behind these guys. Arthur still has the lead. Leith Hardy's defending and Mickey Rubach is all over that gearbox of Leith Hardy trying to get drive off the final corner. Here comes Luke Fit, after his issues on the opening couple of laps, is he able to respond? Here comes Harry Lawrence, who senses an opportunity down at turn 1. The draft, though, has stalled that run out. Now he gets to the outside, takes a little bit of curb. There was nearly contact when they got to 2. Harry Lawrence the long way. Luke Fit will try and hold it tight, which will become the outside when they get down to turn number 3. Still to the inside right now as Harry Lawrence gets down there, deep on the brake, cops a whack. There was contact between Fit and Fit. And, sorry, it's Fit and Lawrence. Now Josh Fit goes nipping through the inside. He says, thank you, boys. I'll take for 2.
Wow, that was a bit hectic, wasn't it? This car's going everywhere. What are you people who are sitting out there watching it and listening to us? Guys, go get the car. Get out there. Next week, come and join us. You could be in the middle of this.
Harry Lawrence facing the other direction was in with a good chance, was in with a great scrap, and now it's all gone by the wayside.
I think he's going to update the sponsor from elevate to rotate.
Rotate and falling swiftly, I think, might be the sponsors on the car next time out. Luke Fitz still trying to close in, and we're going to get a replay of this one, which is Stephen Bull, and that's Harry Lawrence right there, and it just gets away from the zone. Although,
nice way he held the brakes, got out of the road. Very well done.
I do wonder whether or not he might have just taken tyres. And the other side of that equation as well was there was contact to the right-hand rear corner of that car by Luke Fit. So there could have been a slight unsettling. It may not have been cambered quite the same. Chris Island, though, now starts to close in on Matt Morris as the car ahead of him. At this point in time, Callum Newton's actually been able to go with Declan Webb up in front a little bit closer. So we do actually have a little bit of a race on the hands. This might actually work out in our favour, sports fans.
I did hear just before from Race Control 2, I'm sure I heard car 441 has got a 5-second penalty. So that's Stephen Bull in 15th place. And Stephen's been one of the really, really quick guys in this series. So he's out of position a bit, and now he's got a penalty as well. Not a good night for Stephen.
Annoying, frustrating. That's how it all goes. But in terms of things right now, you want to be in Chris Island's shoes as he's starting to close, and there is that confirmation, that 5-second penalty as well. So it is now there. It is now on the books. And Stephen Casitas having some troubles. That'll be a slowdown penalty.
I think he's tending to the garden back there. He had the Victor out, and he's doing a bit of lawn mowing. Beautifully done.
There are expensive lawnmowers out there, but I don't know that you would want to pay for one this expensive.
Actually, if our director's around, I would love an onboard lapper, though. Lapper this, because I think it'd be great for the viewers to actually just see. So down here into turn 2, this is the hairpin. It's got a little bit of banking on it. You got to hook up that inside, hard on it, a little bit extra road on the right. Now here comes this triple left-hander, and if you really get it right, you can do this flat. You've got to give away the first apex to grab the second and the third, then you got to hard on the brakes and try and get it in here without losing the rears. We saw Harry Lawrence do before. Back out over the ripple strips. This is almost flat, but you can't get through here flat. And then this is ever so lightly lift it off. Try and keep as much road speed as you can onto this back straight. Take a breath for 1 minute, 1 second, 2 seconds. Now down one gear into this, flat through the first, flat through the second. You got to brake on the way in, and then you hold it flat. And then this, if you're by yourself, you can get through that corner flat as well. Hard on the brakes here, late apex to try and get early on the power and run up this main straight down into turn 1 and 2, and you'll see this turn 1 and 2. It sweeps left, it sweeps right, and it narrows up in the middle, and there's only one line through here. And then it's a sweeping right. So you're on the brakes, you get the car rotated sideways, and we're back down to this hairpin again to start another lap. So there you go. Pretty hectic minute or so, isn't it?
Yeah, and Stephen Bull did his absolute best to try and imprint his sponsors on the rear bumper of the car up ahead as well. So that's one way to get the sponsors out there. It's not the preferred way, but it does certainly work. The battle that we're looking at the moment is Chris Island has now attached himself to the rear gearbox of Matt Morris, and Matt Morris trying to carry so much speed onto the corner, down onto the back straight. Now it's going to be Callum Newton who has got some breathing room. Because Matt Morris was all over him at the start of the lap. He's backed off, made a mistake in the middle of the lap. And now they're struggling to go with him. Then the double dirty air for Chris Island is not helping his case. Chastanov's managed to go with these guys as well. Newton's the cork in the bottle, and now it's going to be Matt Morris who's right underneath that gearbox. He's close enough, forces the cover from Newton. Matt Morris gets down, gets alongside. The run down at turn number 1 stalls out as they pull side by side. They are side by side. They're going to try and go side by side. And Newton went in deep, so did Matt Morris. They both managed to come out the other side. Don't know how. That was intense.
There sure was, and there wasn't a lot of room, and nobody gave an inch, but they just gave enough. And that was less than an inch.
It's a good thing Matt Morris backed out when he did, because he never would have survived sitting right there. And
I'm loving Matt Morris's livery. The Hornet livery is looking awesome. So he's out looking to, sting someone, isn't he?
He's out with a little bit of sting and venom in the tail. And now for Chris Island, how's he going to get this done? Who's he going to press on here? Does he wait for Matt Morris to have a go, or does he have a crack on his own? Because I think he's kind of got it sitting in the dirty area as it currently stands.
Now he's trying to set one up, and it's not just turn up and pass somebody. You've got to set it up in 3, 4, 5 corners before. You know where you want to do it. So he's going to try and get a run here onto the main stretch. He knows he's got a chance of getting by in that first section. So it's all about getting the run out of here, and he's got again, he's got a pretty good run, but I don't think he's quite close enough. So he'll try and push him down into turn 1, get in his mirrors, try and get his attention so he misses an apex or an entry. But, seriously,
he's right there.
Newton's driving a beautiful line here, not giving an inch, not giving an opportunity. And Matt Morris is all over him. He's in the left mirror, he's in the right mirror. He's trying to draw his attention so he thinks about the car behind him instead of the apex he's about to take.
Well, it's just trying to force you into that mistake. Run it a touch deep, which then presents him the ability to get a lot closer where he wants to get closer as well. Chris Island in deep does make contact to the front wing of Chris Island. It looks like they're both okay. No damage on either car. And this one's not going away anytime soon. What it has done is given Newton a lot of breathing room, and now Morris is off the track and offline. This presents an opportunity. Chris Island's going to get a chance when they get down here. Covers it as Morris pinches him back, sweeps back, and takes that one away. He wants to be the first to have a crack at Newton, but he's running out of time. They're going to push him into a mistake here.
There is some superb racecraft on show here tonight. I mean, we've seen it where the attacking, but also the covering, the defending, and none of it is dirty. It's all beautiful, clean racing. This is as good as you get to see in virtual or the real world as far as racing goes.
You look away for 2 seconds and the white flag's in the air. We've run out of time. Chris Barnes is going to rejoin the race on the outside. Elects to get out of there, recognise the pack was coming. But this is the final lap of the race for Silver. Curtis Webb skipped clear out the front. Declan's going to come home in second, but who's going to be the last step on the podium? Currently it's Newton. He has got about 3/4 of a lap left to run. Mazzaroli's going to go toe-to-toe at the moment with Jack Humphries. He's going to try to get to the inside and get that one done. We'll get there at the inside of the first of the triple lefts. Now it's into the second, now to the third. It'll be outside when they get to turn 7. Gets the job done, pinches a brake. Not quite done. Now the outside yet again. Humphries nicks that one back away. Couple corners left as we run to the McDonald's chicane. Now it'll be down the back straight. Morris is close. He's closing on Newton. He's filling that mirror. He's doing everything Dave Robb says he needed to do. He's going to have a crack. Not quite close enough. Right to the gearbox now of Callum Newton. Still an opportunity. He's going to have a go at the last corner, you feel. Tries to get close. Not quite close enough. Kitty Litter on the left, runs out of time, and it'll be Newton who tries to rotate the car. Don't pick up the edge of the track, and he'll have it to the line. Covers it all the way, runs out of track room, runs out of space. Third place for Callum Newton.
Wow. That was some serious... Oh, there's a nice little last-minute move up on the inside of the last corner. Brilliant piece of driving again. David Baz, nice job, mate.
Oh, Josh Fitt is out of fuel.
Josh Fitt's run out of fuel? Gee, that's amazing because, it must be, he must have short filled. Yep, headed early. So I was thinking nobody else has run out of fuel, but obviously he's done his pit stop a bit earlier than everybody else and hasn't quite got enough in the tank to just get him to the finish. So that's really cutting it fine. Running out in the last corner, that's
How's this for drivers who increase their position? Chris Island, plus 13. James Chastanoff, plus 7. Paul Rogers, plus 12. Jack Humphries, plus 17. Jordan Mazzaroli, plus 21.
Wow.
So on the move, but it's going to be Curtis Webb's show. Controlled it from start to finish. Never looked like being challenged. Declan Webb home in P2. Callum Newton, that battle for third place was phenomenal. From Matt Morris and Chris Island. Chostoff were all involved in that one. Paul Rogers got home comfortably from the next cars, which was Humphreys and Mazzaroli. They had a stoush for the ages on the final lap. Callan Arthur rounds out your top 10.
There was some fantastic racing out there, Scott. That's some of the best racing we've seen in a while, isn't it? But these guys are actually turning on all the time like that. But it's the such close, hard racing, but the respect that's shown, that's what I love to see.
Switchbacks and the opportunity to do them as well. The amount of lift outs at turn 1 when they recognised they weren't going to get through there too wide. Stephen Bull from David Baz, Mickey Rubok on his return to the series. Robbie Griffiths did not have a great night, was the cause of the safety car, managed to stay on the lead lap. Josh Fitt from Leith Hardy from Damien Cairns. Luke Fitt was not in a world of fun here tonight. Stephen Casitas and Hayden Millington round out your top 20.
The pity there, Damien Cairns dropping back to 17th. He was having such a good run early on, up in fifth place, but one little mistake and mate, she's all over. But Harry Lawrence there back in 26th, we saw him up the front as well. You got to keep the car pointing the right way and you got to keep it straight. But this is a really, really tough track. It is full on every second, as we saw when we did it for lap or two.
Yeah, Jamie Nankervis, by the way, is an interesting one because he's an oval driver by and large. So to see him get into the open wheelers and have a crack on the road course stuff is always good to see. That's how they're going to round us out here tonight. We'll be chatting to Curtis Webb briefly if we can get him available. But that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome, Dave. And indeed, we've got Curtis Webb for a chat right now. Dave, take it away.
Beautiful. Curtis, well done.
Thank you.
You sort of had that pretty untroubled for the whole event. Seemed to have it very in control. Your brother there running shotgun for you.
Yeah, it was very fortunate for us. How the quali went out, because pretty much all our main competitors were kind of stuck in the middle of the pack. So we kind of got a very lucky break.
Yep, but yeah, whatever happened with qualifying, it was the same for every competitor. So everybody had an equal chance. Nobody got anything different, and you managed to capitalise on that. So congratulations for doing so, mate. Now I know that I've seen a photo of the rig you sit on, and tell me you're sitting at a desk with I'm going to say not an expensive wheel, a sort of cheap, sort of entry-level wheel, entry-level equipment, and you are just, fantastic to see that, and it shows everybody you don't need to spend $1 million to get out there and just have some fun and do really well. So tell me more about your setup, Curtis.
So I pretty much just attached my wheel to my desk, clamp it on, and then I put dumbbells at the back of my wall and plant the pedals there, and then that's how I drive.
So, do you actually have load cell pedals, or are you just using?
Oh no, I don't have load cell pedals. They're just like I just press it and hope for the best.
So all of you guys sitting there at home and going, "Oh, these guys are real." Curtis is running what is absolute entry-level equipment, and look how good he is. So I'd love to see you get some good equipment, Curtis. I think you got a long way to go with you.
Yeah, I've been thinking of getting new equipment. It's just so bloody expensive.
Yep.
All right, Curtis, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Who are the sponsors that you'd like to thank, or anyone else you'd love to give a shout out to?
He needs some.
I don't have any sponsors, but I'd like to shout out to my brother, T2, become the 1-2. So yeah.
And the key factor is you're going to let him know all week who got the better of who this week, right?
Oh, best believe, mate. Best believe.
So who's the younger and who's older?
I'm the younger. All right.
Brother. Yes, a win for younger brothers out there.
And proper. Awesome. Well done tonight, Curtis. Fabulous to see. Really, really great job, mate. You got to go get some equipment. You've got a great opportunity. Super fast. Not often we see guys at that fast at that level with that sort of equipment. I think there's an opportunity out there for you in the future of sim racing. So, mate, go for it.
Thanks, mate.
Well, Dave, we're going to be taking a few minutes worth of breaks before we jump into things. We've got about 3 minutes left of the warm-up session before we get into things. We might just step away just for a couple of minutes, grab a quick break before we're back with F3 Pro. It's going to be 45 minutes of racing to come your way, and the skies look nice and sunny. We'll see you on the other side of this one.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, thank you for bearing with us for just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. We needed to refresh ourselves. Refreshments now done. That also gives us a chance to jump on over to the Pro Split. Same racetrack, 15 extra minutes. Car setup goes from fixed now to open. And don't forget as well, a focus on the Teams Championship. That's right. For the first time ever, F3 Pro is zeroed in on the Teams Championship. That's how they look in terms of the driver standings, which has, you know, somewhat of an impact. Daniel Harris has it by a single point. That is how the battle's been going thus far from Kalen Chin. Incredibly tight in the series. Ben Roberts and sits in third spot, but Eclipse Simsports have got it by 2 points over Fiercely Forward. So it's season source. They're winning the Drivers' Championship, but second place in the Teams Championship, Dave.
Yeah, and there's some really good cash money up for the Teams Championship, I think, from memory, and Rue's going to kick me if I get it wrong, but I believe there's like $600 cash for the winning team. So that's a pretty big call for racing in your bedroom.
And I like the mindset change as well. Like the other side of the thing is, you know, you could assign all of that prize money to a single driver. No. It's split between two drivers effectively.
They have to work together.
Team. Yeah, so it changes the strategy, it changes the thinking just a little bit. All of a sudden, you know, it's not just centered, we're not talking about an individual sport, we're talking about a team sport. We're going to get into our grid phase as well. Kalen Shen from Daniel Harris, 23 thousandths of a second. Between them, they're the only two drivers who managed to get into the 13.9s. They're on the front row. There are your other two going toe-to-toe on the teams and individuals championship as well. Ben Roberts on row number 2 from Ewan Baker is going to look quite well. Ewan finally got a win in something just recently. Denny Davison from Lee Zeltwanger on row number 3, the second of the Fiercely Forward cars, means that they've got a little bit of a head up with their second car over Drew Collins and Kobe Williams on row number 4. We'll jump back to row number 5. Will be Eddie Beswick from Kenny Canomas. Canomas was all sorts of excitement from the last round. Row number 6 is going to be Bailey Evans from Sam Sutton. Row number 7 is going to be Scott Bartain from Caleb Hides. Before we'll throw it back to Caleb Dawson from Corey Bennett. Jack Murray, your defending champion, did not get a great qualifying event all the way down in 17th off alongside of Matt Keane. The next row back is going to be Tyson Broad from Darren Harris, not Daniel Harris. We've got a Darren and Daniel Harris in this race from Giuliano Cesare, Caleb Bellack, and behind him, Sam Chapman and John Monday are going to round out your back row of the grid. And that is going to be a fun one with Darren and Daniel Harris. We are absolutely going to mix that up at some point tonight.
Yep.
At least we're honest about it up front, Dave. But that team's championship, 2 points in it with 3 rounds in. Round number 4 is incredibly important. And have a look at the team's logos. When you look at Kalen Chin, look at where Caleb Hides is, all the way down in
long
14th.
way down. Yep. Looking good there is Kobe Williams and Eddie Beswick. You know, very, very little between the two teammates. That's nice to see where they're both right on it, obviously, and right on the setup and right on the money.
Yeah, there was some debate. I was talking to Dan Harris about it. It's a little bit single groove around here when you get the speeds up that fraction higher. So overtaking, you've got to wait for the opportunity that presents itself, Dave. So force your opponent into that mistake is critical.
And the other thing that came out during the week was that iRacing just updated this car last night. Actually, overnight last night, they came out with an update for the car. And one of the things was there was a tweak in there that allowed you to run a high front ride height, and it made the car extremely quick in the straight line. And I believe Daniel Harris was one of the guys who was clued into that and using that as an advantage. It was there for everybody. You're allowed to do that. But overnight, iRacing have shut that down. So it's great to see Daniel. He's still at the front. He didn't need that hack or that little secret setup. Oh, they're off. We're off.
Yeah, they are. Revs rose, and they're already on the run down to turn number 1. Harris is going to try and pull up alongside. Looks like he's running a fraction less wing than Kalen Chin. Chin doesn't get through the gears all that quickly. Gets aggressive on the anchors down into turn 1. Swoops across from driver's right to driver's left as they get down and through turn 1. They'll settle it all on in. Daniel Harris managed to slot into second place. It's going to be Ewan Baker who's currently holding off Zeltwanger. Zeltwanger tries to go the outside at turn 2. Can he hang on to it? He does. He had a big old wobble at turn 2. And wondering whether or not we might have just lost our producer.
I think we just lost everything because I've got nothing.
Yep. Oh, Ewan Baker's had a huge tank slapper as they come through triple left.
No.
And Ewan Baker is going to go tumbling to the rear end of the field. And there's more drummers and more drivers. I think we've now lost him completely. No, you're here. It's Dave's gone. Dave's dropped out, so we'll be back in a few moments, ladies and gents. Apologies about all of that. But what a time for technical gremlins to crawl into the system. It was an amazing lap number 1. Ewan Baker's gone from the front couple rows to tumbling through the field. So we'll get an update as they come down by for the first time tonight. Chin's going to lead us away from Daniel Harris. Already trying to skip out to a nice clear lead. Ben Roberts has come through into P number 3. Kobe Williams has got a flying start from 8th on the grid. He's jumped 4 spots. Now they're going to go aggressive on the run down to turn number 1. And I'm already hearing fuel saving out of a number of cars. Zeltwanger's up to 5th as well. So he's already grabbed 1 spot. And they all settle in for lap number 2. But I can tell you, Dave Roberts, there is some fuel saving going on in the packs. There are absolutely drivers clutching on the way to turn 1.
Yep, and I'm back in the picture, so we're all good again.
I was just saying, what a time for technical gremlins to creep in, because it was exciting lap number 1. We've now managed to settle it, and the field is basically settled down as it currently stands. But for now, it does look like the fiercely forward drivers are scoring the lion's share of the points as it stands. And I tell you what, Lee Zeltwanger would be desperate for a good finish. He has had some torrid luck so far.
He has had some torrid luck, and he's had some really, really good runs, but just no results due to nothing more than bad luck. But then again, I will say, you do tend to make your own luck, they say.
Now they run down to the final sector, to the second last corner. Kobe Williams, after gaining all those spots on lap 1, now doesn't have a drafting partner. He's got Zeltwanger in behind him, who will be using up all of that glorious, glorious tow. Drew Collins is up to 7th place. Kenny Kanomas has grabbed 2 on that opening lap. Bailey Evans into 9th. Scott Partain up to 10th. He's the lone. He is so quiet. I swear. Oh, huge incident at turn 1. Bailey Evans just could not get that car pulled up. In too deep. Goes tumbling through the order. Partain comes through from 10th to 9th.
So I have lovely pictures. I have 0 sound.
Well,
I don't know whether anyone can hear me, but beautiful. Oh yes, it's just speared off, and he's obviously got a little bit wide and had to give way to the car on the inside, and just got a little offline. You get a little offline, get off the groove, and next thing you know, you're off the road. So unfortunate, but yeah.
What it's allowed, though, is Sam Sutton to creep his way up into P10. So he's up 2 spots since the start of the race as well, and starting to close in on Bartain. And
There's 7/10 of a second between first and third place, so that's pretty tight at the front.
I wonder how much fuel saving is going to go on down at turn number 1 when they get there this time by, because it looked like Daniel Harris might have had an opportunity to try and get by Kalen Chin. He's definitely running a lot. That car is so much quicker in a straight line, but Ben Roberts now comes through with all the toe to set the fastest lap of the race as the top 3. Nothing between these guys as they head down to turn number 3. Kobe Williams is now 2 seconds back from Ben Roberts, and Zeltwanger is crawling all over him. So there's going to be an opportunity to get a pass done in a straight line. That fiercely forward machine is trimmed out.
Ben Roberts is doing really, really, really well, but the problem he's got is his teammate's not there. You know, Bailey Evans had another shocker of a night to start with, so Ben's out there by himself, but it's not doing their team any good because, unfortunately, Bailey's getting caught up each week. Every week he's getting caught up in somebody else's, and in some cases his own, misdemeanors. But Kalen Chen and Daniel Harris, both their teammates are hanging in there and doing a reasonably good job. So Kalen Chen with Caleb Hyde. So where's Caleb at the moment? He's 11th. And Zeltwanger in 5th. So at the moment, the fiercely forward guys are really, really taking it to the pack. Even though they're sitting 3rd on the road, as a team, they're 1st.
Well, you said that, and the instant you said they were doing a really, really good job, well, Daniel Harris had a mistake at the last corner. Kalen Chin now comes through to set the fastest lap of the race, but Ben Roberts is now there, and Harris will be kicking himself. One of the big things he said to me was, it's very difficult to get an overtake done, and that means it's going to be about mistakes. And, well, he triggered his own mistake trying to get too much of a run. There was an opportunity. He was close enough to Kalen Chin to try and get the job done at turn 1, and that turned into losing a spot instead, which we talked about during Silver as well. This battle pack is all over the spot. I think this is going to be right where Bailey Evans is as we head down to triple left. So Evans has managed to get past Eddie Beswick on this lap, I believe. It sits in 21st spot, but just really not able to make any ground.
This little battle group, when they got down into turn 1 the last lap, on the back of the queue was Ewan Baker, and it concertinaed as people hit the brakes. It concertinaed, and there's less and less and less room, and Ewan did an awesome job to avoid what was a stationary pack of cars right in front of him, but he saved it. He lost a little bit of time, but it was a nice piece of driving. But I saw it in the background, and that concertina effect as you get into turn 1 where somebody locks a brake, then the next one does, and then it's like traffic. Suddenly everybody stopped and you got no time to stop.
Well, Lee Zeltwanger is going to go ahead and set the fastest lap of the race. Took 0.4 of a second out of race leader Kalen Chin. Chin's now had to go defensive as well. And that other battle pack we were keeping half an eye on was Tyson Broad falling off the road down out of the McDonald's chicane onto the back straight. And I believe Bailey Evans had a slowdown for cutting too much of the curbing as they come down through there. So he lifted out and rotated out of the way. Now it's still going to be Benjamin Roberts, who's a lot closer than he has been for the longest time to Kalen Chin. And Chin did have to cover him when they got to turn 3. So Roberts is coming. I wonder whether or not he's thinking about doing some fuel saving. I thought he was the driver I heard getting on the clutch earlier in the race to try and save some fuel, to try and shorten that pit stop. And now here he comes.
Yeah, so Benny's doing a great job tonight. Now, I'd love to see if I don't know whether it's possible, if we go back and have a look at the pass he made there on Daniel Harris, or how he got in front of him, because I didn't see that myself. That's a big thing to get past on this track. Somebody's really got to make a mistake to allow that to happen. But Ben's now really taking it to Kalen Chin, which is great to see, because Kalen's had a good... Here we go. And we've got a fabulous director, haven't we? So there, Harris got a little bit wide on the dirt, and Ben's got the run, and he's just straight past him. How about that? You can see what a small mistake that was, and what a great loss. And Ben was in perfect position to take advantage of that and grab second place. Nice to see.
One of the difficulties, though, is punching the hole in the air as Kalen Chin's starting to find out. I tell you what, Roberts was right on that gearbox, and then I think he lifted out. I get the feeling he's trying his absolute hardest to have to minimize the fuel drop he's got to add to this car. I think that's how he's going to win this one.
Yeah, he can take a little less fuel. Gee, they're wide there. if you can take a little less fuel, it's just a little bit less time in the lane, and that only needs to be a couple of tenths that he's passed. So, but the entry and exit from pits here, as I said, the entry's pretty tricky as well. See the entry there on the left-hand side, and it runs down. You've got a long right-hand sweeping turn that you can before you get to the speed zone, so you can really take some advantages on the way in.
And this is the instant.
Oh, that's Ewan Baker.
And he was
Backwards.
all out of control.
Oh, that was a bit of a nasty rejoin. Yep. So he's copped a 5-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin there.
Go. Ben Roberts gets to the outside of Kalen Shin, has to lift out. There was no gap there. That's put Daniel Harris on his gearbox. And now he can't afford to make a mistake because they're all bottlenecked up in behind each other. I think that got kicked off by Kalen Shin making a mistake. Now Kobe Williams is starting to buy onto the rear bumper of these guys as well. And what was a three-way fight to the lead now becomes 4.
And I can tell you that earlier in the week, in a bit of practice and practice sessions, Kobe Williams was the pacemaker. He was so fast. He was faster than anybody. So he has certainly got the car speed to take it to these 3 guys in front.
Really interested to see how Ben Roberts handles this one and handles it. He got a great exit. Matthew Keane massively in the barriers. And that will be night over for the driver of the 38 from SLM Motorsports.
I think he may have some steering issues there.
I think he's got more than steering issues. And good news, though, he saved some rubber on that, front right tire, front left tire?
Yeah, great.
He can reuse that one.
Reuse it as a coffee table.
Well, he can't reuse the suspension arms attached to it. That'll be a problem. Still going on with the battle for the lead, by the way. The fastest laps now going back away, lead Zeltwanger.
Roberts trying to get down the outside. He gets a really good run out of that second hairpin every lap up into the triple left-hander, but there's just nowhere for him to go.
And there's another replay of coming in.
This is what lost those two front. Oh, it's just had a
wheel broke.
That looks to me like steering wheel failure.
Yeah.
And those things happen, and guess what? They happen in the real world too. But we have electronic failures and things in sim racing. But I always think, well, that's like dropping a valve in a real car, or lunching an engine with the piece of metal in the oil pump, or whatever it may be. But they're the things that happen in the real world. In our world, it is a disconnection. It is a disconnection. It's like an engine failure, And it's, if you look at it that way, don't take it to heart. Those things happen.
It hurts a heck of a lot less, though, than that sort of failure happening in real life, at least.
It's a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper, significantly cheaper. Generally, unplug it, plug it back in, and it works again is generally the way that it goes. Well, that's life sometimes, and the race has sort of stagnated a little bit as we hit 33 minutes left to go. 12 minutes now complete out of this motor race, and already on to lap number 10 as they're starting to really try and crank that pace up. Drivers that are on the improve, Caleb Bellack started out at 22nd up to 14th, so he's done a reasonable job thus far. Tyson Broad had that incident. I'm sort of trying to keep half an eye on Ewan Baker and Bailey Evans, so the two drivers I want to keep half an eye on. Because remember, they both have incidents on lap number 1, and or even early on in the race, and they're starting to recover back through the field. Although for Ewan Baker, he's got 5-second penalty to tag onto the back end of that one. Bailey Evans has had a few other issues, and now Bailey Evans is going to try and go the inside of Tyson Broad as they enter the shell curve chicane and gets the job done. So he will move up one spot further, and that's a car off. That's Sam Chapman running wide.
Now, if anybody's looking on this leaderboard and seeing there Darren Harris, not leading Daniel Harris, but Darren Harris, and he doesn't have a team next to him. He's actually a substitute for 75 Sim Sports, and I think he's running with Drew Collins, and he's replacing Lachlan Taylor, I think. But he's replacing one of the 75 Sim Sports guys, and he's in for the rest of the season because something's happened where one of the guys can't make it for the rest of the series. But in this competition, it is a team's competition, so they're allowed to sub in, but you can't drop them in, drop them out every week. But So Darren Harris is a new entry to gold, to pro, and doing a good job. 17th is not a bad job. And
You'll take that on debut.
I would.
And as everyone settles down in the middle of this race, the early pit stoppers, the guys were stuck
quickly into pit lane.
In traffic, and Ben Roberts is going to dive to the lane as he's going to try and get the overtake done. He feels like he's quicker right now than race leader Kalen Chin, and it was a very good pit lane entry. He was aggressive on the anchors there, carried speed right the way to the line. If this is a short pit stop, he is in with a huge shout if he can get free track. Where is the rejoin going to look like? And that's going to be the key.
You can see there what I was talking about on the way in with that sweeping right and a left and a right, and it's a, you know, you can really gain some time on the way in, and you can also make a mistake that costs a lot of time on the way in.
Well, you had to say he was doing incredibly well, didn't you,
he did
Dave
do
Roberts?
a good job. Superb
and
job.
Then Darren Harris spears off the road. So, oh, Roberts is round in pit lane entry. Oh, it's all gone wrong.
Now, remember what I was saying about pit lane exit and that tight right-hand corner? And he's done it. We might get a replay of that. He's done it again. So once you lose the car in here, you've overheated the rears, and it's so easy to lose it again, and he's just made a complete mess of this. Watch this. He'll lose it here, onto the grass. See, tight right-hander. And I said to you earlier, that exit from pit lane can cause a problem, and it certainly did for Ben Roberts.
Tyson Broad's got damage. Safety car's been deployed.
Well, now we've got a safety car.
Buried in the wall.
And everybody's diving. I can see the leaders are all diving into pit lane. Did the leaders go past pit lane, or were they? Did. Yes.
Kalen Chin, they were past pit lane entry.
Yes, Kalen Chin was past pit lane entry when the safety car was called, and so all of the guys behind have jumped in there, and they will get somewhat of an advantage.
So this will tell what's going on for Tyson Broad. Touches the grass.
Oh, that's so easy to do.
And from there, he's just going to bury it in the tyre wall to try and get out of the way. So this will be an interesting one. Everyone's been allowed past the safety car as it currently stands. So
Caleb Hydes is the first guy back out of pit lane and back on the road. So in effect, he is our quasi-leader of the race, and he's just passed the safety car, but race control has said they can all pass the safety car. The safety car is sitting there waiting to pick up what is the current leader of the race, which would be Kalen Chin, but he's now gone into pit lane. So
I'll tell you what, and Ben Roberts had all of this, by the way, he's going to lose about 10 spots. For those, there was literally next to nothing in terms of the top sort of 10, 15 or so, how far off the leader they were. He lost about 8 to 10 seconds, and it's cost him so much.
If he had just kept his calm on pit exit, kept it pointing the right way, mate, he would be in front of this motor race without a problem in the world.
Oh, damn, he had such a short pit stop too for Ben Roberts. It was quick, it was quick in, it was quick out.
He's driving the wheels off this here. So he's trying to get back round and get past pit exit before Kalen Chin gets out, but he hasn't done it. Kalen Chin has regained the lead of the motor race, and he's back in front of the race.
Yeah, and now we're going to try and just equalise the field and see where we all end up, and that is going to be the key.
I'm going to have a sip of wine, and I'll be fine. I think I need that after that.
Well, an interesting little fact is Daniel Harris has dropped a spot out of that pit lane cycle. His pit stop was...
Kobe Williams.
Kobe Williams has only had a 5-second pit stop. He's had an impressively quick pit stop. Static time in the lane, 5 seconds. Kalen Chin, 6.6. Daniel Harris, 7.1.
How do you do 5 seconds and refuel enough? Wow.
Well, they looked at the safety car and how long the safety car is potentially going to be out for and went, okay, I can cut 1.5 laps of fuel out of this race. Plus, they might have been saving.
Mind you, these guys are not making these decisions all by themselves on the run. All of the guys have spotters and teams behind them on comms. They're working out in the background how much fuel they can take, how much fuel they shouldn't. So it's a team effort, and that's the whole idea of pro. is that, you're not privateers, your team's there, and they've got professional people behind them helping them make those decisions that get them the fastest race time they can get.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to be in Kalen Chin's dad's perspective, watching over his son's shoulder, going, "Come on, you can win this one. Go on, you can do it. Dare ya?" That would be the sort of interaction my wife and I have. Is come on, you can drive faster. What's wrong with you? Why can't you drive faster?
Do you say that to your wife often?
No, she says that to me. She sits over the back of. She likes watching sim racing from time to time over the side. So. Our producer is absolutely roughing me up in the commentary box at the moment.
That's why I'm laughing.
I do not want to revisit the broadcast from last night's race. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about my engagements with the IndyCar as it currently stands. I want to talk about the race we've got in front of us.
I'm going to say third and fourth, fiercely forward or whatever they're called, fiercely forward. Fabulous team effort. They're sitting third and fourth. Forget they're not winning the motor race. They are, as a team, they're winning the motor race.
And we're going to restart, and Daniel Harris is going to drop back to third position on the pit lane cycle. Kobe Williams was extremely close to Kalen Chin, but sat in the pocket of his expanded teammate, the two-team outfit that is the Eclipse Sim Sports drivers. And they all managed to stabilise themselves down. Caleb Hydes has got a real opportunity to score a boatload of points for him. And Zellweger is under assault by the Vermilion Sim Sports driver, Kenny Kanomas, who's now up to fifth spot. He's having a supreme race. He's +5. Gets to the inside. We're going to go through the triple left. Does he lift? He does. He yields just slightly. Looking for an opening. It doesn't arrive for Kenny Kanomas. But he is now starting to really harangue the rear bumper of Lee Zellweger. And Zellweger's now struggling for grip. I wonder whether or not he's not got cold tyres on board.
These guys are having a ball. Look, Zellweger's wide. He's on the grass. Kanomas will take this. He's got this. He's got this position. It's done. That's what happens when you run on the grass.
And he's still going to manage to hang on to the spot. Now he's going to cover it to the right-hand side of the road as they head into the second last corner. Not necessarily an overtaking spot. You can only go through there if you're already committed to going through too wide. Had to back out, and Zellweger's lost the front three as a result. So Kenny Kanomas tries to harass and harangue the fiercely forward driver. It's not worked out for him.
Ewan Baker in the background. Ewan Baker in the background, off the fence. Now, is the car okay? Is it still tracking correctly or not? Jack Marra, where's Jack Marra tonight? I haven't seen Jack. He's 12th place. That's not like Jack. He's really struggling around here. So I just saw you and I thought I haven't even looked at Jack tonight. So he's having a tough night, but hey, 12th place on the road. He's still there and he's still racking up some points.
Another driver that's doing quite well now sits in 10th spot inside the top 10. Caleb Dawson +5 spots as it currently stands. He's made a few as it stands, but Kobe Williams making his way to second spot, I think, is the most spots gained right now. And Ben Roberts is getting harassed, and that pit strategy did not work out for him, and then he had to back out of that one as well. So still trying to make ground and is not managing to gain much of it.
The other guy who's done a really good and impressive job tonight is Danny Davison, and we've seen him with speed in a number of the rounds so far, but tonight he's just been able to hang there, and he's taken an edge off the speed because he is back in 7th place. But he's touch wood. I'm not going to put the car wash on him, but he is still out there. He is still lapping. He's doing a great job, and it's nice to see. And I'm going to say these guys, Danny Davison in their Valve Esports car with Scott Bartow running nose to tail there, another great team effort. And there's 3 teams that seem to be really doing the numbers, and one is Fiercely Forward, Valve Esports, and the third one was I can't remember, but there's 3 teams. If you look at the leaderboard when we get the teams up next time, you'll see there's 3 teams that have got doubles with inside that sort of top 10, doing a really, really good job.
Wasn't the Eclipse Sim Sports 6-6?
Yes, it was.
It was.
Thank you. The Eclipse.
Yep. So the 2 Eclipse Sim Sport teams doing okay now, with Kalen Chin's teammate Caleb Hydes now up in a 6th spot as it currently stands. So that is scoring a boatload of points as they're coming through the final sector.
So if you look, you've got Eclipse 1st and 6th, you've got Fiercely Forward 3rd and 4th, and you've got Valve Esports doing really good, 7th and 8th place. So it's really nice to see that the team sort of together and running together. That's really good to see. And even further down, I mean, it's, Benny Roberts there, and I think he's got his teammate right behind him as well. So.
But both of them started inside the top 10.
Yeah, they
sorry,
did.
Bailey Evans
So
started
won't go there,
my
but
apologies.
they're running 15, 16, so there's still a bit of time left. We've still got 20 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, still time to make some things happen as Lee Zoltwang is trying to broach that gap to the leaders, and Eddie Beswick now runs wide.
I was just about to say, Eddie's having a much better run tonight than he's had. He's had the speed.
Ben Roberts.
I did it to Benny, didn't I? Oh, I did it again. But I'm not going to mention Eddie Beswick. He doesn't really exist because I don't want to put him off the road. But that's not Eddie. No, thank heavens. But Eddie's had speed to burn earlier in races. He seems to have taken the edge off that speed tonight. Look at them running. Oh, he ran wide behind Eddie. Monkey see, monkey do. So, but Eddie seems he's taken the edge off the speed and he's lapping consistently, and that's what you need to do. And there we go. That's an easy losing of the rear end into the right hand loop turn after the triple left hander. Very easy to do.
Caleb Hydes has got an opportunity to try and see if he can harass Kenny Canomas. Canomas is going to go to the outside at turn number 2. Caleb Hydes gets to the apex. They're still going to be side by side when they get to the exit here. Now the run down to turn 3. Who's running a little bit less wing? Very, very similar in terms of the downforce levels by the look of that one. And he looks for the crisscrosses. Hydes tries to get the drive out the other side. Does get a reasonable drive, but not quite enough to get back down the inside. Thought about it, still thinking about it. What this has done, though, is allowed Zeltwanger to skip clear, and now he's no longer under threat. He's actually starting to reel in the leaders just a fraction as it currently stands.
It is like a little bull ring, this place, isn't it? It's just non-stop turning left, turning right, turning left, turning right, and a lot of really long corners in here. But wow, Caleb Black, they're having a big moment through that loopy right-hander. So more than 180 degrees. Now Eddie Beswick running. He's had an issue because he's dropped down the list again.
Yeah, and I think he might have had contact with someone. So
did I do it to another one?
Race control, and we just go back to we were talking about Caleb Hydes, the Eclipse SimSport driver who's partnered with your race leader Kalen Chin. They were scoring a boatload of points, and Caleb Hydes has now just lost a couple.
Yeah, this place you've got to drive the car so hard. You can't cruise around here. You've got to drive the car 12 tenths to get a decent lap time out of it around here, and it's showing. These guys are making mistakes. Everyone except Kellen Chin at the moment.
I'm really curious whether or not Kobe Williams actually has enough fuel, because remember, he had the shortest pit stop of the field by Caleb Dawson. Caleb Dawson was 4.8 seconds. So we're going to get a replay. This is Eddie Beswick and Caleb Bellack as they go side by side. And there was contact, but he tripped over the inside.
A bit of curb. Oh, and then the spin. That didn't help.
So the Eclipse SimSport driver is not necessarily doing all that well, unfortunately, here tonight. Albeit they're 1 and 2 on the road. Their teammates are not having a good outfit. But there are a lot of drivers who are making unforced errors tonight, which is unusual.
It's the nature of this circuit. Like I said, you've got to drive the car so hard. You can't relent. You've got to drive it over the limit at all times. Just keep the pace of the car up. And what it's doing is it's creating mistakes. Oh, looks like
something's happened to the 66 car. Yeah,
I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about any other drivers tonight, Scott, because it seems every time I mention one, they're in trouble.
Well, I was going to say, you can reach out to Dave Robertson and pay him a few bucks, and he won't talk about you for the rest of the year. Might be the best way to get through it.
Let's stir the race up. I'm going to go talk about Kalen Chin.
John Monday would be an interesting one. I think I just saw a car barrel rolling. Yeah, this is the incident. This is John Monday, and I believe that was Eddie Beswick who gets to his inside, which is going to be right here. Check this out.
I hate to say it, but I think that's going to be a bit of a... there's going to be a penalty involved in that. You can't just drive into the side like that. Wow, that was a big move. Anyway,
John Monday's race over.
And exactly, because they got no fast repairs. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Eddie's race over as well, because again, how much does he need to repair? How long is it going to take? Wow, that's wide.
Who was that running wide? I'm trying to pick
That
up.
is
That was
Scott Bartay. Well, no, it wasn't.
Was it Caleb Hydes? I think it was Caleb Hydes. As easy as it was, as Julian Arno, Stanese is going to go side by side with him on the run down the front straight. Stanese gets the job done. Yeah, so Hydes might have a touch worth of damage, although that mistake was quite big.
Yep.
So that could explain it. And yeah.
So here we're following, we've got 94 Kobe Williams. So Kobe's only 0.3 of a second off the back of Kalen Chin here. Let's just talk about Kalen Chin for a while. That'll stir up the series.
you don't want to do that. His dad's watching in YouTube chat, Dave. That is absolutely not going to help anyone. What I can say, though, is the fastest car last time by was Lee Zeltwanger. He took 0.3 of a second out of Kalen Chin.
Wow.
So he is starting to come at these guys quite quickly. 0.2 out of Kobe Williams and 0.1 out of teammate Daniel Harris. So out of everyone, I reckon the fiercely forward drivers might have taken tyres at that last pit stop, and now it's starting to come back their way.
Well, if I was them, I would have split the strategy. I would have one of them taken tyres and one not, just to make sure I got it covered. But I'm seeing here a lot of pressure going on to Kalen, and I'm going to say he's got to get that number fixed. Dad, can you make sure he gets his
Huge incident!
into pit lane?
And that is the worst pit lane entry I have seen in a long time.
Very impressive pit lane entry.
Mum, Dad, get the camera. That was a skateboard entry to pit lane.
Well, that's just... Oh, boy.
So it's gone on through the shell curve chicane.
Somebody
we'll come to the
bouncing
right-hander.
over the curbs there.
Second last corner,
Yep,
final
here
corner.
Here we go, and it's... Well, oh dear. The benefit, you gotta allow the guys some room to get back on the road. But
change repeat two. Daniel Harris got it, and now Daniel Harris has lost it. And I reckon Kobe Williams is in trouble in fuel. I'm pretty sure Kobe Williams is not going to make the end of this race on fuel.
But he's dropped two.
Oh, there he goes! Now he's going to get
contact.
contact. Daniel Harris clips him. Did Lee Zeltwanger get by and get his car out the other side? I think he's okay. I think Zeltwanger's okay, but now he's in trouble because Kenny Canomus is coming at him. They're going to be side by side. Harris has got damage. Daniel Harris is done. Daniel Harris's race is over.
Wow. It was a tiny clip, but it happened.
Oh my word. No way. He has got 90 degrees, 45 degrees with the left hand down in that car.
It was such a tiny clip, but it's just the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. Look. Oh, so there's more to that story. That was the earlier story where they've rubbed together there. That will have contributed damage as well. And then he's done it again here, and the combined hits have broken the steering.
I mean, defense.
Watch this. Tiniest clip. See, bang there, and that's just gone. Look at the steering wheel. He can't steer it at all, can he?
Nothing he could have done, yeah.
No. He's done a really neat job here, keeping it off the road, running it down the outside, not ruining anybody else's race. But we've now got Kenny Canomus on the podium at the moment. So what a great job there. And Danny Davis and Scott Bartay, team, are running 4-5. I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to go back and talk about Kalen Chin a bit more. See if we can stir the race up a bit more.
What happened, Dave? Can you stop? If you keep this up, we're not going to have anyone finish.
Oh, it is just phenomenal, isn't it? As soon as you talk
Oh,
about somebody, there just seems to be that it happens, doesn't it?
This is about to kick off because Danny Davison's harassing Kenny Canomus now because this is for a podium spot.
Come on, boys. Careful, because you've got a great team position here, Danny and Scott. Behave. Don't do anything dangerous. I want to see you guys take out the team win for tonight because that would be awesome.
So
we're inside 5 minutes to go now.
So I can tell you, by the way, that changes things. Remember, Kalen Chin was 1 point behind in terms of the Drivers' Championship. Well, he's gonna take that one from Daniel Harris now. So he's Yeah, he's got that one covered. Now it's Davison versus Kanomas continuing on for third place. Zeltwanger's going to get second. He's not making enough time that Kalen Chin's going to be reeled in by any stretch of the imagination. 6.65 for a race leader, 6.62 for Lee Zeltwanger in second, and then these two will squabble over it. And Bartain, I think, is just sitting back and just going, which is what he does. He does this very, very well as Bartain. He sits, he watches, and he says, I'm rear gunner. I'm just going to sit here and accept the fifth spot.
Really, really excellent race from the guys at Valve Esports. And, you know, it is a team's championship. This team is winning tonight. So they may be third, fourth and fifth on the road. Don't even look at that. As a team, they are the leading team. And they've done a brilliant job. And they've worked together. And they've kept their noses clean. Touch wood. And I'm absolutely rapt to see it. It's really, really good job by these boys.
Denny Davison's just run wide, coming onto the back straight as it currently stands. Like, we've still got 10 minutes left of this race too.
Yeah, and Jack Mara up inside the top 10. The Mr. BP, the quiet achiever. He's just, you know, he's not quiet when you get him on the microphone, but he's quiet when he's out there. But
reckon he's got a bag of snacker changies to his right hand side.
Have you seen the photo? His promo photos. He looks like he just stepped out of a boy band.
Oh, here we go, and they're still on for it as well. Sam Sutton is going toe-to-toe with Drew Collins on the run down at turn number 1, and they're not going to get into it. And the Drop Bear Motorsports drivers sit... Well, Tyson Broad's out for the night, so this is the only points they're going to score with Sam Sutton.
Oh, and 4-3?
Caleb Bellac.
Okay.
Which was they're putting Giuliano Sinese over the pit lane wall.
Yep. That's why I said you got to give the guy room to get back on the road. You can't.
He just pinched him.
He just pinched him. You know, I don't think it was deliberate. It was just unfortunate. But you do the crime, you pay the time.
I'll choose to disagree with your reading of that one, but I'll keep it to myself, shall we?
Okay.
But in the meantime, car 94 Kobe Williams has been freed from any repercussions. Well, I mean, he lost the rear end of the car anyway, so the repercussion is as it currently stands. So anyway, that's as it sits. But Chin now, 7-second margin over Zeltwanger. And
Davison's having a go.
He is going to continue to really harass Kenny Kanomas.
He is. These boys, and they race together a lot, and these boys will be having a ball here. I reckon they'll both have grins as wide as the front wing.
And could you imagine when Kenny Kanomas gets out of this car, if he hangs on to this one, this will be a third spot.
I reckon they'll be a bit sweaty, don't you?
I think they're already, they're absolutely running a marathon as it currently stands. Davison still trying to harass and get to the rear bumper. Bartain watches on, and he might be reaching for the popcorn in behind these guys, just watching the Stoush trying to go with them. Caleb Dawson up to 6th spot. Let's run through the field and tell you the biggest movers. Scott Bartain +8, Kenny Kanomas +7, sits in 5th and 3rd respectively. And then in 6th spot, Caleb Dawson +9, Jack Mara +8. Those are your biggest movers. And Sam Chapman also +9.
This isn't over yet. Big dive on the inside by Danny there. He's trying to get inventive with his passing moves. I really like to see that, but please don't throw it away. I just want to say, I know all the drivers watch this event back. They watch the coverage back after the race. I just want to say to you all now, too, if you've got a penalty or something happened tonight, and like Caleb Black there, and I know you said there's 2 ways to see that. I haven't had...
have a moment here, Dave, because they've got locked together, the two drivers, and now Kanomas is out of the action. Caleb Dawson goes through, Bartain's onto the podium.
And Davison has lost his front wing. I'm not going to talk about anybody ever again. But what I was going to say is, incidents like Caleb Black's there, what happens is tomorrow night, that will be all of those decisions. If there's a little bit of contention and not sure about it, will be reviewed. If anybody here, they all have an opportunity to put in a protest or ask for any sort of accident to be reviewed. Here we go. We can see it down the inside. And Davison sees a hole. He dives down the inside. It's a pretty good move. I think he just
got locked together.
Yeah, he's just run that little bit wide. That's such a pity for both of them because they really did deserve third and fourth. But yeah, so you've got the right to ask for a review and you can log that with race control. Tomorrow night, race control will sit down and review all of the incidents that have been asked to be looked at, plus any outstanding ones that weren't sure. Sometimes race control go, I need to look at that in more detail. I don't have the time in the middle of a very, very busy race. I'll just shelve that one. That's for review tomorrow, and it'll be a post-race incident. That can happen. And also, if you got them a 5-second penalty, like the Bellac incident there, that doesn't mean it's over. Tomorrow night, that'll be reviewed, and it may be overturned. So, and then if it goes the other way, and where somebody's got that and it's been overturned and the other driver disagrees, they also have the right to appeal. So, this goes on from here. It's not just a fait accompli, and the race control team do look at it. It's not one person, whoever judges it. It's usually three. Three people look at it, and it's always a majority vote. And whatever the majority believe out of that three is what the incident will be recorded as. So it's a liquid thing. It moves, it changes, but at the end of the day, it's pretty fair. And if you do get a penalty, they'll give you the time back.
Well, as it currently stands, Jack Mara is trying to make all that time up out on the racetrack. Sam Sutton might be looking a touch vulnerable. Swings it to the inside of the drop bear. Motorsports driver, he'll get side by side. Sutton was deep as they got down to turn number 3, but manages to hang on. And there was not a lot of road left.
So Connors is down to 9. And what happened to... Oh, okay. Danny Davison's gone completely, have we? Yes.
Yeah, his wheel was broken off, so there was no way that he was getting back out.
He's done.
He's 9 over.
Oh, bugger. These guys, they really love to win on the night. There's not a lot of, let's bank the points and let's do well for the team. It's all about personal glory and I can beat the guy in front.
Well, just think about the amount of drivers here tonight who had an opportunity to bank a whole host of points and they've thrown it away.
Yep.
Sometimes it's about just getting to the finish line. They always say, in order to finish first you must finish. And tonight literally proves that. As Galen Chin's out to 7.5 seconds worth of lead. Zeltwanger's going to get home comfortably at the moment. Let's not curse anyone else. There's 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock.
You know what I'm loving at the moment? Scott Bartain on the podium. That's a well-deserved podium. That's an awesomely well-deserved podium.
You've done it. Dave Roberts, no, do not mention that man's name again. I swear to you, please do not mess that up because I'm enjoying it as well.
It's just fabulous to see. And even Lee Zeltwanger, he's had such a rotten run of luck where he's been, off the road and just caught up in other incidents. And there he is up in second place. So he's doing a fabulous job as well. Those are really good, but... Callan Chin's proved to be wearing a suit of armour tonight again.
Well, it's easy to avoid stuff when you never have to drive through it. And I think that's the big thing, isn't it?
It is.
And the joys of leading the way through and the joys of when you're in the rain as well. There's no spray to look at. Always easier to be the leader.
And there he is setting the fastest lap as well.
And now he's going to skip clear. Race control going to review the Eddie Beswick incident post-race to look for a little bit more about that one.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes in the heat of the incident, they really don't have time to review it to the degree that requires...
Oh, contact! No! Out goes Sam Sutton. And was that Drew Collins? I think it was Drew Collins he tripped over. Bailey Evans is back to 6th spot after running most of the night around 20th.
That's, it's never over until the, what was it? The big dog sings.
Oh, I'll throw on a wig and start singing at this rate.
I did say big dog.
Oh, that's just silly, boys. Just
that
silly.
It is. It's unnecessary.
Jack Marr's fifth.
And I think that there's probably a penalty coming to somebody there, I would guess. But Jack Mara, quiet achiever, keeps his nose clean. This is what you got to do. Sorry, this bloke in the cream car, I don't know his name. You've got to keep your nose.
I'm glad you've learned. Oh my God.
So,
for those of you watching and listening along tomorrow, Dave Roberts' inbox is going to be flooded with "Don't you ever talk about me." I
am like the what do they call it? The Death Eater, aren't I?
Yeah. you summon the soul of drivers about to disappear. Do you just go around spraying oil on the track in front of the drivers that you're talking about? I don't.
But I'm going to say something here is that, Kalen, you don't need to set lap records. You just have to get to the finish, buddy. Nicely, calmly, easily. You've got nearly 8 seconds up your sleeve. Stop setting lap records. Who do you think you are, Max Verstappen?
Well, it's finally going to settle down as the only battle out on track is Caleb Hydes and Kenny Canomas as it currently stands. Hydes sits 9th, Canomas sits 8th, and I think we're going to have one more lap as we come past the start-finish line this time by.
It's been a wild ride tonight, hasn't it?
It is. It has been an amazingly aggressive ride, and I tell you what, white flags in the air. Caleb Hydes just get to the inside. He's going to nick a spot off of Kenny Canomas as they got to the shell curve. They're going to come out of this final corner. See one more lap left to run, and Canomas might have put up a stout defense. He tried to cover it, but he still left a gap, and Hydes filled that gap. Hydes was all over the place.
Loose in the back.
Out of the last corner, but Canomas is so far back as it currently stands. I don't think he's going to have a shout. Who put enough fuel in the car? Who will make it home?
And next week we're at one of my really favourite motor circuits in France, and I am looking forward to going to Magny-Cours because it's got good wine.
It's a beautiful track.
But I love that place. It's got a flow, and I think these cars will just be superb around there. And it's a big change to here. Tonight's been like a little bull ring, hasn't it? We're all barging and bashing each other.
I just want a boring race next week, boys. Just nice and plain and simple and boring. Tonight it's been annoying as anything. Caleb Dallak is the driver that's missing his rear wing as they come to the final corner. Kalen Chin's coming to the last corner. He's coming to the final flag of the race, and he is going to win in style. 6 seconds will be the margin as we look back to pick up the second place fiercely forward driver of Lee Zeltwanger, who comes home comfortably. And then this one will be celebrated. Scotty Bartain gets the podium. He is going to enjoy that.
I've got to give him a little round of applause because he deserved that. He will be absolutely ecstatic about getting on the podium. That is the most well-deserved podium I've seen in a while.
And Ben Roberts finishes the race in 10th, crosses the line, just gets into the 10.
Just got to dig deep and get your head down and say, what happened. I've just got to put it together. I've got the ability to get back to the front group, and Ben did that, and he's done a great job, and he's got themselves some points.
I think one of the key factors in that is what you said. It's when you make a mistake, you've got to reset so you don't make a second one.
Yes. How many times we see somebody make a mistake and then, like Ben did, coming out of pit lane, and then a corner later it's round the wrong way again? You got to keep it calm.
My word, boys. So that is going to be the end of the race, and the finishing order as it stands. Kalen Chin, we obviously knew won. Lee Zeltwanger from Scott Bartain. Caleb Dawson home in 4th spot, started 15th on the grid, plus 11 spots for him. Jack Mara sneaks 5th spot, plus 12 spots for him. Bailey Evans, 11th to 6th, sat 20th on that restart, by the way. So he has gained 14 spots after that. Drew Collins, he sits there at the end of the race. He started 7th. He finishes 7th. Everyone went off all around him, and he still managed to get it home in 7th spot. 8th spot goes to Caleb Hydes. Kenny Canomas gets home in 9th. Had his pockets picked on the second last lap of the race. Ben Roberts home in 10th. Ewan Baker is just outside the 10 in 11th.
That's a good from Ewan. We saw him in a lot of trouble tonight.
He does get himself a 5-second penalty, but that won't affect his post-race results. By the way, will not lose a spot. Sam Chapman home in 12th. Eddie Beswick 14th, Darren Harris. Then we get to the drivers who were off the lead lap. Cody Williams was 1 lap down from Caleb Bellack, also 1 lap down. Sam Sutton 2 laps down. Denny Davison 6 laps down and didn't finish. Daniel Harris 7 laps down, didn't finish. Giuliano Sinise 8 laps down, didn't finish. John Monday 15 laps down. Tyson Broad 24 laps down. Matthew Keane, the first of the retirements, 27 laps down with a wheel failure. My word, what was that race? What happened? Did we hit 10 o'clock? We just hit 10 o'clock now, so it wasn't after everyone's bedtime.
Have you gone out and checked whether it's a full moon tonight? Because I get the feeling it could be.
We might have to.
I've got to say, too, I am loving that this series has no fast repairs. You make that mistake, you pay for it. I love that.
Yeah, there's no get back out there, rejoin the race. And we won't talk about what I did to earn myself a fast repair last night. Anyway, Kalen Chin is going to enjoy celebrating. Lee Zeltwanger finally gets some luck go his way, but I can tell you he would prefer if he didn't go his way at the cost of his teammate. And Scott Bartain is going to be celebrating this result for a week. So let's go ahead and chat to Scott Bartain first, because he is ready for a quick chat as Kalen Chin continues to light it up on the start-finish line. And I tell you what, Scotty Bartain, it was a quiet night at the office. You're getting good at these sorts of races where you don't really gain too much, you don't really lose too much. You're getting good at somehow making the drivers all around you fall off the road.
I just do what I do. Can't do much more than that and sit back and reap the benefits.
In terms of things, mates, I would strongly suggest you don't buy a lottery ticket. You've got no luck left.
Yeah, all done. Thanks, man.
And I take cash, check, credit card. I'll take any of them for not talking about you.
Bitcoin? We'll go with anything.
Bloody fantastic, Scott. I mean, you've been out here, you've been punting it around with F3A for more than this season and always been nipping at the butt of that podium. Is that your first podium tonight?
Yeah, man, first podium.
And mate, I've got to say it's well deserved. Absolutely fabulous to see. Congratulations, and yeah, well done.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. It's just been awesome racing this season, and the car's just awesome to play around with.
Mate, in terms of things, difficult race there tonight. You're obviously tagging onto the rear bumper of your teammate Danny Davison, and safety car kicks off. The restart goes. Were you thinking about taking tyres there? How was the car over the duration of the race? Because it's quite narrow. Getting the overtakes done is incredibly tricky around here as well. So is it just a little bit of I've just got to look after the car. I've just got to give myself something to finish the race with.
Yeah, exactly. Just finish. That's all I was aiming for. We thought if we could get a safety car in the window we needed it to change tyres. We went and changed tyres. Danny lost a bit of track position but gained it back when the tyres came back in, and just a bit of unluck there. He was pushing, trying to get past, but you know, racing's racing. We have accidents, and yeah, I reap the benefits. So thanks.
So he'll take cash card or check too.
Yeah, we're already discussing that before I come in here. So he did an awesome job with the setup.
He did.
He went with the high downforce setup this week, and I went the other way. We've been going the last couple, and when they changed it, we had the backup. So yeah, he's done an awesome job, Danny.
But the pair of you ran really nice, sort of as a team for 90% of the race. It was a pity that Danny got caught up in that, and I know he'll be upset about what happened. But yeah, he took a dive. There's an opportunity. You got to go for the gap, and he's just run a bit wide, and cars got locked together. But mate, you didn't benefit from that. You deserved that, and great finish. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Finally, mate, the floor is all yours to thank the sponsors to make it possible, or any shout-outs you'd like to give for those of you supporting you at Valve Esports.
Oh, well, first off, all the guys behind the scenes putting this series together, mate, it's just awesome. Everybody racing, it's been great. All the boys at Valve, RSW Graphics for the awesome paintwork, everything simulated. Yeah, you boys in the commentary team for putting on a great show, so can't ask for anything better.
All right, thanks very much for your time, Scotty. And I get the feeling you're going to invite me back to that Discord channel before you guys go racing again next week. Seems to be a lucky charm.
Yeah, definitely, man. You're my lucky charm, so I'll bring you in next time too.
Thanks for your time, Scotty, and we'll see you next week, brother. We'll take one step further forward in terms of the podium. We're going to be chatting to the fiercely forward driver who's managed to get the car across the finish line tonight and get the car across the finish line in a respectable second place. Lee Zaltwanger, luck has not been on your side thus far throughout the season. It was tonight.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, it was a good race. I haven't been too lucky over the last few rounds. Made a couple mistakes by myself. And yeah, just some bad decisions. But yeah, today went my way, you know. Me and Daniel were racing real well. We were on for some solid points, but then yeah, I think Daniel got tangled up in a crash with Kobe, fighting for P2, which allowed me to catch up. But then yeah, it just didn't go their way. And I did have the speed, but yeah, not quite enough to keep up with Kalen in that. But happy to finish on the podium and yeah, get some good points.
I can tell you, mate, you were actually fastest driver for a significant portion of that race in the middle section just before the safety car. You were starting to really ream the cars back in ahead, and then a touch of the race just after that safety car, just before you caught Daniel and Kobe. So the pace was definitely there. You're starting to look more and more confident in the car as well. That margin between the top couple of cars is narrowing and narrowing as this championship's gone on. How much work are you guys putting in week to week?
Yeah, you know, we're putting in heaps of practice, heaps of laps, you know, because we know we have to do that to keep up with the other guys and try stay at the top. So yeah, we're putting in a lot of laps, a lot of practice, trying to get that set up, you know, little tweaks just to get it that little bit faster, you know. That's all it takes between, you know, being in the midfield and up top is just that couple of tenths. So yeah, no, we're working on it a lot, and yeah, I think every round we've kind of nailed it almost. And yeah, putting in some good drives, and hopefully we can keep it up and yeah, stay in the championship.
Mate, in terms of things, obviously heartbreaking for Dano, obviously not be scoring a lot of points. He's on track. Was there, for a big points night in terms of the team's championship, what was the discussion like about that in the middle of the race? Was it, let's just lock this down, let's secure a big points haul, or was it, you know, move forward, move backward? What was that discussion like between the two of you?
We didn't actually have a lot of discussion during the race. We were just focused on, you know, finishing the race. But beforehand, we knew we were, you know, up there, but we knew we just had to, you know, finish up top and get some solid points. And yeah, we were on road to do that, but yeah, just a bit unlucky. But yeah, during the race, not much talking, just keeping our heads down, staying focused. You know, on this narrow track, it's really easy to make a mistake and, you know, put it in the wall or lose a couple of places, and it's almost impossible to get them back. So yeah, no, we were doing really well, and yeah, just a bit unfortunate for Daniel on his behalf.
Mate, in terms of things, it's been a pleasure chatting to you this week. Hopefully it'll be many more weeks as the season continues to come, mate. Who are the sponsors to make it possible for you and Fiercely Forward?
We don't have too many sponsors, mate, but yeah, just the Fiercely Forward guys, Adam Merchant for helping us with the setup, and yeah, Daniel, of course, keeping me on my toes, and yeah, that's about it. Cheers, boys.
Well, thank you very much for coming to chat to us. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Zaltwanger finishes out of P2 here tonight. We'll be moving finally up to the top step of the rostrum. Dave Roberts standing by with Kalen Chin.
You again, Mr. Winner. Yeah, had a great run tonight, Kalen. Absolutely superb. Appeared not to put a foot wrong. I'm not sure that's the case. You probably made a mistake or two that I didn't see. But, mate, you just class of the field, look really secure in the front. Bit of pressure early on. But you never really seemed to get too bothered.
Yeah, the start of the race was just taking it easy. The rear end was very loose, and I also wanted to try my best to protect the tires, and that's why I was trying to back up Benny and Daniel at the start. I did make one mistake. It was on the last lap. I almost spun on turn 2, I think it was. But other than that, it was mistake-free.
That'd be because I was talking about you, probably. It seemed everybody tonight I spoke about ended up 2 minutes later in the fence. So it was quite funny.
That was not me.
But no, you've got the car set up really well. You were looking for a really, really good run for team-wise, but unfortunately, that wasn't to be the case in the end. But how'd you go with the setup? Did you put a lot of time into getting the car set up during the week to get the speed here this weekend? Because you had an extra week to play around, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did spend quite a ton on setup for this round. I'm just trying to think, but because of the setup change yesterday, I think it was,
yes.
I don't remember, that kind of threw it all in the bin, and combining with the fact I had no internet until around 2 o'clock today, it kind of just yellowed it.
You had it. Luckily, you had it tonight. But how much did that change overnight affect the setup of your car?
It impacted the straight line speed quite a ton. I don't really know who else was.
Oh, so you were
on the straight, yeah.
You were running the nose in the air profile, were you?
Maybe.
Yeah, but it's good that they've done that, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, everybody copped the same thing. It wasn't anybody in particular. Everybody copped the same thing, and everybody had to deal with it. So, and mate, you've done a great job of pulling it together. Can you do me a favour? Can you please get your numbers fixed for next week so they're not blank?
Was it blank?
It's blank again. There's no numbers on the car.
Yeah, I'll fix that.
I keep looking at it going, is that you or is it Caleb? And I never know who it is. But a great drive. Really, really well done. I don't know where Caleb finished up in the end. I don't quite remember. But, you were looking really hot there for a little bit for a big points haul. So a little less, but you still got a great points haul. And that should put you in good stead in the team's championship, which is what we're all about.
Yeah, after the safety car, it seemed like Caleb was in the top 10, I think. I can't really exactly remember, and Kobe was right behind me. I don't really remember where Eddie was, but it seemed like all was going well, and then it just faded away just like that. I'm glad it didn't happen to me as well, but we'll look to hopefully improve everyone for next week and the whole season as well.
So how do you feel about going to France next week? Beautiful little circuit at Magny-Cours.
I hope it produces better racing.
This place is great. It's a real little bull ring, and it's narrow. There's corners everywhere. It's really fast. You got to drive the car almost over the limit to get any lap time out of it. I thought it was for us watching it was fantastic.
It's a great track to like hot lap, but side by side racing is probably not one of the better ones, if I say so. But I think Magny-Cours it would be a lot better, and I'll be looking forward to that.
All right, cool. Well, last thing, opportunity to say thank you to all the guys who get you here, and I know Dad'll probably be in the background and get the first thank you. So,
yeah, they're both in the room right behind me right now. He's actually waving. Yeah, of course. Thank you to Mom and Dad being the best supporters of my races. I think Mom watched this one as well. I would like to thank Eclipse Sim Sports, Cody D, Dylan Burst, Damon Woods, and of course Eddie, Kobe, and Caleb for supporting and for setup work as well. And of course, all my friends watching that I sent the stream to as well. Thank you for supporting me. And that's about it.
Well, cheers. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's going to wrap us up in terms of things here tonight from Oschersleben. We journey from Germany. We'll be heading west, and I believe it's actually southwest to Magny-Cours next time out as well. Magny-Cours, it's a lot longer in terms of the straights. The track just a touch wider. The run through turn 2, which becomes turn 3, is such a long, winding section of the track. Straight line all the way down, overtaking opportunities right the way around. And one of the I refer to as nearly the snail corner because it looks like a snail's shell as it triples back and tucks right in. It's like a, what is it? It's more of like a, it's not even 180 degrees. It's like 270 degrees worth of corner right in the middle of the circuit.
And a little right-hander on the way out, hey?
Yeah, tough, technical, and tricky from Magny-Cours. Oh, and you got that final chicane that we're looking at right there on screen as well. Yep. That's where we're journeying next Wednesday night for round number 5 of Circuit de Neve Magny-Cours for Formula 3 Australia 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, join you next week from 8:25 Australian Eastern Standard Time as we go racing once more with F3 Silver and F3 Pro. We'll see you then.
See you then, Scott.